Alrighty, we are now working on month 3, which is this pieced border of our Poinsettia Winter block of the month. We are going to be doing a whole lot of stitch and flip rectangles. So I'm going to show you 2 different methods for making these rectangles. The first one is traditional, like the book shows, where we draw a line on the square, stitch it, clip it, and then flip that little corner over and press it. The other one uses a ruler from Creative Grids called the Folded Corner Clipper Ruler. So we're going to try this ruler out and see how it works for these blocks. So here's my E square. I have marked the line, and this is one of my D rectangles. So we are going to put the square on top of the rectangle, and you really want to watch this diagram and make sure that your diagonal is going the same as the picture shows. So some go this way, some will go this way, back to this way, and back to this way. It makes a different block if you sew it the wrong way. So you want to make sure that you're sewing the way the picture shows. So for our first method, we're going to put our square on top of our rectangle, and we're going to sew on that line, maybe just a needle's width to the outside. That gives this room to fold back like that. Okay, here's our little unit all sewn. As you can see, let me zoom in a little bit so you can really see that stitching. I sewed just a little bit to the outside, meaning the outside corner of this square of my marked line, and then I'm going to press it flat to set the seam. I'm going to fold my square back and press it, and I like to keep this part on until I have pressed this back, because this gives me sort of a target of where I want this piece to go. If I cut this before I press this back, then I might end up pressing it just a little bit off one side or the other. But if I leave this intact, press it, and then come back and trim this, it's more accurate. And here's our little DE unit, all sewn, pressed, and trimmed. For our next DE unit, we are going to be using our folded corner clipper ruler to trim this block before we sew it. So the other one was sew and then cut. This one is cut and then sew. So with this method, you do really want to make sure that you're cutting the right direction. So we're going to be going that way, not this way. If we cut it here and sew, this will fold back this way, and that does not match the picture in the book. Our book has the triangle and the seam line going from the top right down towards the left. This goes from the middle to the bottom right. So we want to make sure that we're going to sew here so that we get that look. All right, so that means we want to clip on this side or trim on that side. So we're going to use this folded corner clipper ruler. And the way this ruler works is our square is 1 3/4 inches. So we are going to line up this dotted line. So it's between 1 1/2 and 2. That's 1 3/4. That dotted line is going to go on the raw edge. And then this set of dotted lines here is going to go in this corner. So we're going to line our ruler up. So we're on raw edges here, here, and then also on these sides of the ruler. And then we're going to trim this off before we sew. Now, what we're left with, we can just use our standard 1/4 inch foot and sew 1/4 inch away from this, and it should end up perfect. Okay, so I just pulled this from my machine. I used my regular 1/4 inch foot, and I sewed right here. Now I'm going to take this to the iron and press it back this way. So here's our rectangle with our traditional stitch and flip, and our rectangle with our folded corner clipper ruler. And I think they came out identical. What do you think? So you use your method of choice, whichever one you like. I'm going to give my new ruler a try and see what happens. The next unit we're making is this F and E unit. Very similar to the last one, but with a different rectangle. The other thing that's different about this unit is that our seam does go the opposite direction of the last one. So with the first one, we were going this way. With this one, we're going this way. So with the folded corner clipper ruler, we're going to turn our ruler this direction instead. And so we're going to line up the dotted lines here and here, and our raw edges here and here. Trim that off and then sew using our 1/4 inch foot. And here is our completed FE unit. We will continue doing the same type of stitching for all of the rest of the rectangles as shown on page 21. Again, just be really careful that your seam is going the correct way, either left or right, whichever the book shows. These flower units are assembled in the traditional log cabin style. So you have a square and a rectangle that go together first. Then you add a rectangle here, and then a unit here, 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 and the last one is here. The last step for assembling this block is to add another folded corner here on the end. So again, you can do it the way the book shows, where you mark the line and sew on the line, and then that will fold back like that. Or you can also use the folded corner clipper ruler to cut that. So these are 3-inch blocks. So very similar to before, we would lay our 3-inch line on this edge, a raw edge here and here, cut this off before we sew it, and then use your 1/4 inch foot to sew that. Your choice. Here are our completed blocks in colorway 1 and color option 2. And at this point, these should measure 7 1/4 inches square. From this point, you just put the blocks together the way they're shown in the book and then add them to your quilt center. When you go to assemble these blocks, here's what you don't want to do. All right, notice right here we have B and A joined together with C on top. All right, this is what not to do. I have my red on the left and my cream on the right. It's supposed to be the other way around. So I sewed this piece on the wrong side. So it's supposed to look more like this one. Red on the right, cream on the left, cream on the top. Just like that.